This is going to be the painless version, and I forgot a few things, so this is going to be the best of. Basically, what I have here is I have all my stuff. I just have to add a color card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now by going up to Add Layer and go to Color Card. Put that there and make sure that that darn color card right now it's grabbing this drawing thing. I'm going to get rid of it there. So this is my character, and I went back and I put the neck on the body layer. So if you want to take a look at this, I've got it in different layers. So I've got the hair on top, and I've got the mouth, and as you can see, the mouth has different mouths here, like that. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of take all these layers and just bring them out a little bit more, like to 20, like that. So I got eyebrows, and my eyebrows in this case, I didn't make new eyebrows, so I'm just going to leave those the way they are. Again, you can have different eyebrows, just like the mouth. The mouths here are all different mouths. I'm going to extend this mouth one to about there. And so there's the mouths. Actually, you know what? Let me just leave the mouths alone because I'm doing drawing substitutions. Drawing substitutions, that's the thing that's over in this section over here, and it's under library. If you go in here, you'll see that there's my mouth. It says drawing substitutions, and what it is like every one of these is just a different mouth, and it's on a different, has its own frame, so that when you actually are doing lip sync, you can actually dial this up on your just by clicking on a and moving the bracket bars back and forth. You can select different mouths. See? Like that. So I'm going to leave it alone. That's that. And then I got the brows, and I've got his eyes. And what I did is I just have one with his eyes open, one with his half eyes like that. And you can see his pupil right there is a little bit high. So we're going to go into that pupil, and we're going to just bring that pupil down a little bit. All right. Just a little bit like that. So now it's not cutting into the thing. And then when it goes to this one here, the closed eyes, that's where we just see his eyes, and there's his pupils wide open like that. So that's that, and then let's just go in here and we'll just delete these. This is basically the same eye. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just leave the eyes the way they are. All right, and then here's his eyeball, and that's just drawn, and those are just 3 drawings of a blink. And then we have the head, which is the whole thing here. And I'm just going to shift plus that a little bit more, go to 20. And then what I have here is I've already set up my arms. So I have a front arm and I have a back arm. Let me just show you what that looks like. So this is my front arm. If I can zoom out so you can see the whole thing. So he's rather big. This is actually a 12 field right here, which is pretty big. So you want to draw your character kind of large, so when you shrink him down, you know, it'll reduce some of the resolution, but it won't break up or anything like that. So here's his arm right here, and if you click on this, you're going to do a lot of this where you're going to use animate current frame, and you're going to use this to select that arm. So there it is. That's the arm, and I have a hand which was separate. And what I did is I just grabbed that hand and I put it over here on top of the arm, and it made the arm the parent of this thing right here. So right now it's set up correctly. And sometimes what happens is, and this is something you're going to have to do a lot when you're rigging. You'll notice that sometimes when you bring in things, the Harmony brings it in, and it's not on the, it's where it's supposed to be, but it's in front of or behind the thing that you want you have here. So in this case, here's my arm. Let me just show you. So it's in the right position right now. So if you click on this, you can see that this is definitely in front of that arm. Okay. So this is what happens. If you need to move this, say it looked like something like this. So now you can see that the arm is on top and the hand is kind of in the back here, right? And kind of don't want that. So what you can do is you have to have your animate current frame on, you have to have the transform on, you have to have the thing selected where it is right here. And the main thing is you're going to leave, if you notice I have right here, it's this red line because I'm in this window. But when I go over here, there's a red line over here that surrounds this. If I go down here to timeline, another red line kind of outlines this thing. Now, if it's not working on your machine, it's probably because in preferences over here, it's not turned on. So you just open this. I know it's a lot to look at, but the main thing you want to focus on is this. This is the general tab. It opens up here. You want to make sure that this focus on mouse enter is clicked on, and that's what's going to help you do that. All right. So there's a description there. All right, so I'm going to close that. It's on, and you have to keep your mouse in here, and then you go to, if you're using a Mac, you use Option, and there's the arrow keys on your computer, the ones that go right, left, and up and down. So the one that goes down, think of that if it's pointing towards you, right? So I want to make this layer come towards me. So I'll push, if you have a PC, you push Alt, and that's what I have. So I'm going to push Alt, holding Alt down, and then hit that little arrow key that's pointing towards you. And look what happens. It does that. Now, it won't do that if your mouse isn't in this area. If your mouse is over here and you do that, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go Alt and push that arrow key away. And when you do that, nothing happens. And you're like, what's that going on? Well, that's because this was over here. So you need to have this highlighted. You do Alt again, and it does that. Okay, so that's that. That's how that works. So I'm just going to do it like that. So it's there. All right, good. See, that one's okay. And I put these in a certain way because you think of it like kind of a sandwich. You got the thing on the bottom is usually the white, the color card. And then I've got like his hands and arms here. That's on the bottom layer. And then I have his back leg, which is here. I put that there. And then I have the body, which is kind of on top of that. And then on the other leg, is the front one is like that. Okay, and then going up the food chain here, you got the front arm is on top, and then the head is definitely on top of the neck, and then you have all these different things with the eyes, the nose, and all that, mainly the mouth. And if you just, what I'll do now is I'll show you how to parent these all together. All right, so here's the head. We're going to open this, and the first thing you want to do is you want to turn on Animate, and you want to turn on your transform button. Now you notice that this right here is your pivot point. This actually, whenever you create something, this is the pivot point of this head right here. Now, if you just grab this and click, you'll see that as you go over here, the little P pops up. That means pivot point. Now, if you grab it, yes, you can bring it over here and it looks like it stays there. And then you can pivot like this, see? Now his eyes aren't even attached to that head yet, so that's what happens. So I'm gonna go back and I'll show you something. Now, it didn't really do it. It didn't actually change the head. See, the pivot's still over here. So the only way you can move that pivot correctly is to go up into this control here. Now, you'd think it would be this one here, translate. You can actually move it around. But that's not what you want to do. You want to actually move that little pivot. It says rotate, but it also says can permanently move the layer's pivot point. And that's what you want to do. You want to turn that on, and you'll see that it makes this yellow dotted line with a little arrow sticking out. So you want to go over here, find that pivot point again, grab it. Oops, don't want to move the actual guy, but you want to grab this and bring it over, and you don't want to have it right on his chin because you know his neck is like right in here somewhere. I'm gonna let go there. All right, so now I've permanently changed his pivot point. So if I actually rotate his head, you can see, yes, it's going where it's supposed to go. Yep, it works. All right, so let's bring that back. And now I have all the parts. I've got the mouth, the eyes, the brows, the hair. All these little things have to go in the head. So as you can see on my layers here, there's his mouth is on top. His hair is actually on top. So I'm going to grab all these parts, all these things like this. I'm going to grab them and I'm just going to click on them and move them onto the head and let go. And when I do that, this is the thing that happens. Right now, all those layers are attached to the head. So if I take the head and I rotate that head, yes, everything kind of goes with it. You can't see the eyes or mouth because they're behind the head. So what you're going to do is this. You're going to have to do what's called nudging, and that's kind of what I was showing you here. You're going to go individually. You're going to find the hair. You're going to go up to the hair. And this is where first you're going to move that pivot point. So that hair might move a little bit. You don't want it to rotate off the guy's head. So let's just move that pivot point of the hair over to where we think it should be. So maybe like in here somewhere, like on his head. Just a little bit of like there would be good. All right, so there's his head. All right, and the next thing is we're going to bring it forward. So that's where we're doing taking the animate current frame and turning on the transform button and then putting our mouse over in here. It highlights up that hair. We go to Alt or Option if you're on a Mac. You hold that down and you push that arrow key towards you. And it does that. It pulls it forward one little notch, so it's above the head now. So the same thing with the mouth. We're going to go to the mouth. And you can change the pivot point as well. So let's go to rotate there, and we'll just grab that little pivot point, and we'll put it somewhere in here because his mouth's about there somewhere. There we go. And then we'll just go to that mouth, make sure that transfer button's on, go into your window stage and push Alt, and there's the mouth. So the mouth there, it's made a key for the mouth. Now we're going to those brows, same thing. You might want to pivot it one day, so we'll just go over here. He doesn't have anything else he can do with those brows right now, so we're going to bring that up into about here. All right, and we're going to now turn that translate button on. It's just a series of doing the same thing over and over, bringing out and now we got the pupils. So let's put the eyes first. So there's where the eyes are going to be. We're going to turn on our pivot point there, rotate. So we're going to rotate it over here, put it about there. right? And then we're going to take those eyes and again, transfer form button, and there it is. There's the eyes. And same deal, just getting all the parts put back together on this face. Oops, let's just grab him. Oops, why is he doing that? Control Z to go back. All right, there we go. There. All right. Again, you don't have to move the pivot point if you don't want to. I mean, but when you do pivot, it's going to move. And if you have it near your object, it'll be easier to find later. But mainly your whole head is basically moving everybody. Okay. So let's get those pupils back. And there they are. We go Alt. There he is. And you can go through and just see if he's still there. Yep. And you can check, go to the head, and you can just rotate him around and see, yes, it works. Yay. All right. So there's his, that's that. And that's putting all the things in there. And as you can see, you can reduce the head by just pushing that button. And now you just have a head layer, right, like this. All right, now it's going to get more complicated here because some of the stuff I left out. And it's, you know, something you got to do. So this here, you notice that all the little eyeballs, when you turn off those eyeballs, it's like poking them in the eye and it turns them off. Now, if you just wanted to see one layer, you can go to enable solo mode and you can push that button and it only goes to that one drawing, that one layer. So you can undo that. You can see everybody. All right, good. Now I think I got everything set up except the body now. The body has to actually do something. So here's my body. And we're going to take the body. We're going to select it like this. And we're going to look for that pivot point. Again, let's see. I think might have to move this out a bit. This down a little bit so I can see this a little bit better. All right, so there's my body. We'll turn on that layer. There he is. Okay, so we're going to move the pivot. So the pivot is going to move down here. So we're going to grab it, and we're actually going to move it all the way down here because it's kind of near his butt, his torso, right down at the bottom here like this. Okay, we'll let go. And now you can now pivot his body. So if you wanted to bend over or look backwards or something like that. Hey, there he is. Hey, how you doing? All right. Okay, good. All right, so now we got that. And I might have to make a two-parter to this because this is going to get kind of complicated here. But we did all the body layer, and the body layer is basically all the parts of the face and head and all that. So we're going to have to attach the head to the body. So this is what you do, is you just kind of go up here and find the head. And you take the head, you click on it, and try not to do that. But you just highlight the head, and then take it over and drop it on top of the word body. And you notice what happens. Yes, the head goes, it looks a little odd. All right, so it's the body's in front of the head. Even though the body's on top and it's attached to the head, now we need to just do that little trick where we turn on our transform tool, go over here, push down Option or Alt, and hold it, and then push that arrow key forward, and there it is. So now look what happened. By moving the pivot point first and getting it there and moving it here, this is what we did, is we actually connected these guys together. So the body is the main thing here. So if I rotate the body now, the head goes with it. Hey, yay, yay. All right. And if I go into the head, I can still rotate the head and everything stays there together. All right, so that's the body layer right there. That's one layer all done. Now it's what we're going to do is actually put controls in the arms. These are bone deformers. There's two types of deformers. There's curved deformers and there's bone deformers. Now think of curves deformers are kind of like, you know, the old 1930s cartoons where they had rubber hose animation. Their arms are very rubber hose like, no joints. You can use that for a curved deformer. But in this case, he doesn't have rubber arm hoses for arms, but we're going to make him with regular arms, okay? And so this is how you do it. Same thing, we're going to select the actual thing, and we got the pivot point right there. So the first thing we're going to do is this. We're going to go up into here and select the rotate tool. We're going to highlight that pivot point, which is this arm. We're going to bring it over to about his shoulder, because about here is where he's going to be pivoting his shoulder a lot. All right, so there it is, about there, about in here, I guess, a little higher. Let's see if I can get it right in there. It's good. All right, so now you can test it. You can go over here and click on this, and then you can actually see it's moving around. Now, when it did that, or something happened here, my hand kind of went back again. So, I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that just to see. Maybe I don't need it. Let me see. I'm going to try just connecting to the hand and rotating the hand. Oops. You see the hand now is doing that. And I don't want that. So I'm going to make that, find that pivot point for the hand too. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pull that down and put it where it's supposed to be. Like right about here is good. Maybe a little bit more over, a little bit higher. And this can, you want to get this kind of right. And this is why you test it. You kind of just, you know, get an idea. Is that going to work? All right, so you can see his hand is kind of doing some, kind of has some lines in it and stuff. But, you know, this is going to be a very simple rig. So he's basically just going to move around and maybe see if I can make him do a walk cycle or something like that. Okay, so I've set up my pivot points for these guys. And now I'm going to go back to the arm, which controls everything. And I'm going to go and do what's called, I'm going to go up here to these rigging tools. They look like a little kind of a wrench and a hammer. And it's for putting these deformers in it. Now the deformer that I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm just putting it in a certain way. With the bone deformer, you basically click at the shoulder. You go down to where you think the elbow is going to be. Let's turn it on and I'll show you. So here's my, that little, that's it. That's the tool. So this is already highlighted. So I'm going to click at the shoulder and it leaves a little blue dot. And I'm going to go about to where I think the elbow should be. There, click. And I'm going to go about where the wrist, I think the wrist should be, right about there. And I'm going to go right up to the hand, like somewhere in here, and just give it a little tap like that. So now I've just created a whole thing here. I took one drawing, I put these bones in it, and now when I click my transfer button, what I can do is I need to kind of control the thing here. So if I click on that line and you see that little circle, those arrow keys and stuff, you can actually hold it. Whoops. Again, click on it, and then you can actually move it like this. La, 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 like that, right? All right, so there he is. He's going along like that. Okay. And then you can click in here. When you click on there, you can actually bend his arm. Now you notice you've got some things happening. Here's the lines are going through the arm, things like that. Now you can control that a little bit by using this little thing in here. You can pull it out a little bit. You don't want to be too much because see, when you do that, it does distort the drawing. But if you can get kind of like toward the edges of the line, you know, it's gonna kind of control that now. So now when I turn, you can see it takes a little longer for it to actually fix that. So that's good. There's also something we're going to use later to show you how to fix any deforming problems. So let's see, let's see, where's my, did I not do one? I thought I did one. Oh, I must have, okay, when I was doing that, I must have deleted one because I remember I put one right here. So let's see, I'm just going to go backwards. Go back. All right, so there, we're going to start fresh again. So we'll go up to our tool. There it is. You're going to click on the joint. You're going to come down to his elbow, kind of in the middle, and you're going to click on it, and then you're going to come down to about where his wrist, you think his wrist should be. Right in here, maybe. And then we're going to go right out to the tip of the finger, somewhere in here, and just click it. All right, there. All right, good. It's there now. All right, somehow I must have fixed that. Anyway, so we'll turn this transform button on, and now, see, now we can test it. We can test that hand. So there's the hand. Looks pretty good. All right. And then we have the arm, like that. Again, it kind of starts breaking up about here like that. And that's where you can just adjust your, I forget what this is called, but you can just adjust it a little bit more like that. And now when you go up like that, look, it doesn't cut through as much as it did before. It's pretty good. All right, do that. And then this one as well. Try this out. Now it looks like I have two of these things in here, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't know why I got two of these now, but I think maybe one of them was there before. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it like that because I don't want to keep running this back and forth. But there it is. That's the arm. And so the leg looks like something like this. Now, when it created all this stuff, now if you look at your timeline, you actually see that it says deformation front dash arm, and it's attached everything to it. And then if you go under here and click this little box that has a plus sign, it opens up and you can actually see all the bones. So all these bones are what you're going to actually be clicking on. You're not going to click in here. You're actually going to click out here and set keys that way later on. So there's one arm already done. So I'm going to do the other leg, and then that's going to be it for this video. And you can see what I'm doing. Now, after I get all this stuff put together, I'm going to do something else where I'm going to add some program to this, and we'll change the names and all that. But I don't want to get too complicated. It's already complicated enough, so we'll just go into this now. So here we go. We'll go to this tool here, and we'll bring this up. And again, there's our leg that we want. So you can either select it here. Oh, I lied. Okay, I won't select it there. It's the front leg. So you just have to look in your, here it is, front leg. Now the front leg is just one leg. It's just one thing. You click on transform, you can see, and again, it's going to show that pivot point. So it's probably up here somewhere. So what we'll do is we'll go over here, and there's our pivot point. We'll go up to our rotate tool, and we'll click in the middle here, and we'll bring that, and we'll put it about here, kind of in the middle, kind of over there, like that. And now we'll even test it. We'll click on this, and you can see that, you know, his arm goes out. There it is. Kick, kick. You know, you can test this. Control Z that to go back. And now we're going to put the leg in there. Same deal. We're going to take that. And when this pops on, this thing comes on, which is kind of annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this off. And to do that, you just go over here, and I hope you can just push that button, and yes, it turns off. Good. Hey, I'm getting good at this. All right, good. So there's my thing. You can also, like I said, if this is too complicated, just go up to the solo tool and find that. And then you can kind of see it all by itself, and it's a little easier to deal with. So again, when you move this stuff around, this tool turns off. You have to go back and turn it back on. And then let's put that. So we've got the pivot point already. So now we're just going to do the same thing. Same thing here is just to click and then bring it down to where we think the knee is. Click. And we'll put about here where we think the, what is it? What do you call it? The ankle. Maybe the ankle's like about here. And then we'll go down. And I guess you could put one here and here if you want to really bend that toe. So let's try it. Let's say like, okay, this is the base of the foot. And then we got a toe like in here. We might need it. You don't have to do that. Usually I just put like a line just to the toe, but I just want to try this out. You know, I've never done this. And all right, so here we go. We turn it all on, and now you can just test it out by doing this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we got this one. Ooh, look at that. Whee! Ow, that hurts. All right. Again, let's just adjust this a little bit. Too much, and it's kind of not so bad. But about there is pretty good. Let's see if this works. Is this going to do anything? It does a little something to it. Let's see. All right, I don't want to do too much to this because then it might do some wacky stuff. Let's see. Maybe not. All right, so I'm actually interested to see what happens to this. So you can actually bend it like that. That looks pretty good. Be on his toes. And then if I did this correctly, maybe you can get like a little, oh yeah, see, I could keep that toe like that. So maybe, you don't have to do that, but that looks pretty good. So let's Control Z all this stuff. Good. All right, so there you go. So we did that one. And yeah. So basically it's done the same thing like it did to our arm. It's given us a deformation of the front leg. If you click in here, you'll see that there's all the bones right there. And it's all these bones are controlling the front leg. And so that's it. And to shrink all these bones, you have to push that little minus, and it makes it like that. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get out of here. You notice I only see this thing. And this happens sometimes as you're going, wait a minute, what happened to all my stuff? I don't see anything. So the thing is, inside here, I actually I got to turn off this solo button because as you can see, you do need to have that. So there, I've turned it back on. Now you can see the whole guy here looking good. And yeah, so all I have to do now is finish up the rest of him by putting this leg in here and do the same thing to this arm. And once we do that, all it will take now is just to do a little tweaking, and then we can put this all together. Well, there he is. Still don't have a name for this guy. If you can think of a name for him, let me know. Leave a comment below. Yeah, leave his name below beside. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, so that's all I'm doing now. I'm just going to give this a different name. Save as, and I'm going to call it... All right, so we'll do the rest of it. It'll be a lot easier. All right, thanks again. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this.